Welcome back to another episode of the Higher Level Podcast. So joining us this evening on the show, obviously we've got Dylan Tuke, who's stepped in for James Doolan. Dylan's going to be co-hosting tonight, so we'll see how this goes. And our guest this
I wasn't told about this.
No, this was sprung on you last minute. So obviously joining us on the show we have Peter Queally. Peter, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Obviously, we appreciate the time. Jump on this tonight. Obviously, a massive fight coming up on the 5th of November. It's Bellator 270. It's a rematch against Patricky Pitbull. But the fight was announced a while back there. You were originally slated to be co-main event. That's now changed. It's you're headlining the card. Dublin at the Free Arena. and the title is now in the line. So can you tell us when this news broke for you and when you found out you were moving to a headline spot and the belt was going to be on the line?
Yeah, I found out, I think it was announced on like last Wednesday or something, and I knew since the Friday before that it was official. Mm-hmm. But I just didn't tell anyone. I just want, these things, there's nothing until it's in your fucking pocket. Nothing is done. So I didn't tell anyone until I signed the thing on Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon or whatever it was, and then they announced it. But I kind of had rumblings of it for months before that this was a possibility that me and him might end up fighting for maybe an interim title or a real title. So I kind of was expecting it.
And you got the news. Obviously, if you've heard rumblings about it, I'm assuming you put that to the back of your mind. So it's not something you can focus on the what ifs and maybes. But when you get the call and you get the news and you know it's definitely happening, how good a phone call was that to receive?
Brilliant. I just couldn't believe it, to be honest. I was just, yourself, if you'd have told me 10 years ago I'd be fighting for a world title now, I just wouldn't have believed you, to be quite honest about it. It's just, Dylan will tell you, it's a lot of blood, sweat and tears over the last 10 years I've had in this sport, and I feel like this is a kind of a vindication that my way was the right way to do it. Maybe take the hard fights, take the hard road, and you'll get there eventually. So I'm just very proud of myself and very happy.
As you should.
Yeah, and obviously James isn't on the show tonight, but we had a conversation a couple of days ago, and very much what you just said there is something James echoed to me privately. Obviously, you going out to Russia and fighting, going out there with the crowd against you and stuff like that, and you've went that hard road. When did you ever get to that stage then where you thought this world title, just the opportunity may not come?
Oh, my whole career you have these doubts. You're just like, will it ever come? Will I ever get there? This is your constant mindset. For me anyway, it's such a struggle. And especially how I was doing it, it was just a struggle. That's all I was just on the struggle bus my whole career, basically. But here I am now. So, and who's going to stop me? I don't think he will. So I'm going to be world champion, I think.
100%.
Yeah, and the road you've taken as well, do you think that road you've taken to get to where you're at, do you think that prepares you more for when the opportunity does come?
100%. Like, I often doubted myself, and I even had teammates telling me, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. This isn't Joe. But you can do it two ways. You can do it how I did it, or you can kind of take a more sheltered route, and that's safer. But then when you get to where I am and the wolf is at the door, you're probably not prepared to fight him now. You know what I mean? But I'm prepared. I'm very prepared. I've seen it all before. This is not my toughest fight, to be perfectly honest.
Not even close.
Yeah. So, Dylan has been away with me in Russia. He'll tell you what tough fights are and what tough environments are. I'm fighting my backyard here with 10,000 people behind me. This is nothing compared to what I've gone through. So, I'm very happy with the road I took and proud of the road I took as well. And I'm just happy that it worked out as well. It doesn't always work out, but this has worked out. So
And a big thing as well, Pia, you spent an awful lot of your career at welterweight.
True, I did as well. That was I had a stint of about 7 fights at welterweight as well. But that was partly not having the know-how on how to make lightweight correctly, and just a bit of laziness as well, where I didn't want to cut the weight, and I was like, fuck these guys, I'll fight anyone. You know me, I'm just like, well, Dylan will tell you, we went to Italy one time, I fought a fucking shaved gorilla. Oh my God, I got there and I saw this guy. I was like, oh my God, I was trying to act tough in front of Dylan, but in my head I was like, oh bollocks, like what am I doing here? He looked like he was 95 kilos. I'll never forget it. I was just like, and I weigh what I weigh fighting at lightweight is what I weighed fighting at welterweight. You know, I didn't weigh any. I wasn't any bigger back then. I just was the same size.
I think for cutting weight for that fight, you went and done yoga in the steam room.
I did, yeah. I did a bit of stretch. I didn't even do it in the steam room. I did it in the steam room for 5 minutes, then stretched by the pool and was on weight.
It's crazy when you hear, obviously with MMA being such a young sport, the differences in just even the weight cutting alone. I've heard some horror stories about how guys used to do it now. And obviously, as you're saying, Peter, your approach is different now in making the weight. When you look at some of the things you used to do versus what you do now, do you ever think, fuck it, what was I thinking?
Hell yeah,
stupid things. Just I do it completely different. I went when I was first I started my career lightweight, and I was just no carbing it and starving myself to death for months. That was how I was making it, as we all were doing. This is what we taught you did. And now I do it completely different. I cut all the weight in a few days. Now it's a very tough few days, but I'm a big unit then in the ring, and it's that short-term pain I can take. But this long-term dieting, it just used to kill me, and I used to perform then. But now I've kind of balanced it out, and I actually, even though I cut a lot of weight in a short period of time, I perform very well. Dylan again will tell you he's cut weight with me before. I cut a lot, but it never really stops me, and I perform well.
Yeah. I mean, Callum Murray will probably kill me for saying this, but one of the guys at Higher Level, I know he used Weight Watchers to cut weight in the past.
Hey, there's no shame here.
If it works, it works.
Sorry?
Better than chicken and nut butter.
Yes. Oh, Jesus Christ. We went through this fad of eating chicken and nut. Oh, I don't want to say it. It was just horrific. We was just like, there's about, but it wasn't even that, Dylan. What was worse was the 2 months before that of eating nothing. That was the problem for me. I can
broccoli or chicken and spinach. And
just no carbs for so long. And it doesn't even work. You're just like, you don't even lose that much. You lose a bit and you're just in this limbo land of, you know what I mean? So thank God I figured that out and figured it out. And this is all stuff that you figure out from taking hard fights as well. Because if I hadn't have gone to those places, doing those welterweight fights and taking hard fights, maybe if I was taking easier welterweight fights, I would have convinced myself, I'm a welterweight, I'm fine. But then you fight some of these big cunts and you're like, okay, I'm not a welterweight. I need to figure this out and figure out how to do this.
Yeah, I mean, there's some big ass welterweights out there. Just
so big.
Even in the UFC, some of the size of the guys in there is, you wonder how they actually make the weight and don't kill themselves on the scales. Yeah. It's insane.
I think that's the worst weight class for weight cutting as well. For whatever reason, they're the guys that are the biggest for the weight class. I think is welterweight. They just cut a lot.
Yeah, it's that jump as well between the 155 to the 170.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, you're right. That probably is it. Yeah.
Because you're going to get guys that probably ideally would sit around maybe 165 or something, but it's always been a weird one. For them. Yeah, absolutely. And for you, Peter, all those things you've experienced, obviously, with how you weight cut and all that, just preparation. You've been through all that in your career, and obviously with the young guys going through at the gym, and Dylan, you can jump in on this. It then good because presumably the younger guys coming through, they're learning from guys like you who've been through it all and made the mistakes and made the adjustments.
Oh yeah, 100%. I wish I had someone like this, but I didn't. I just had Chris Fields and fucking Cathal Pendred, who were just the school of starve yourself to death and shut up, don't be a pussy, just do it. You know what I mean? So this is what I had, but that was good too, and that taught me made my character strong, and you learn from that as well. But we weren't that scientific back then. So
no, to be honest with you, I don't, especially in the UK, Ireland, I don't think anybody was. We
were very far behind in that regard back then, I think. Compared to
having the wrestling and stuff like that. Obviously, the Americans, they grew up with that stuff, so they're just always more advanced. And
you don't cut weight when you play soccer and hurling and football.
No.
So this is the difference. So we never needed to do it, so we never figured it out.
And Dylan, for you, I'd love to bring you in here. Obviously, you've come up. You're still a young guy, but you've been around this game for a long, long time now. And you've seen guys like Peter and all that, guys out at SPG. What's it like for you when you see a guy like Peter finally getting his opportunity after that long road he's been on?
LPC culture is going to hate me. It's great to see because, well, mainly like Peter says, he's fought anybody and everybody and never ever once bitched and moaned. I know for a fact that there was a contract that came for Bellator that should have went to Peter years ago, and just so happened that it didn't go to Peter just because of let's just say ethics or just how shit goes in the big world of fighting, like, you know what I mean? So it's great now to see him get it and still take the hard road to get there. And I don't think he would want it any other way anyway, like, you know what I mean? But Peter was my main sparring partner and training partner for years. I even grown up as a kid. So to see a guy that I've shared blood and tears with, I've cried on him as being a drunk boy who brought me to Italy or Russia to corner him. I'm very flattered. I'm very flattered for all the good things that he gets done for me. And then I'm just happy to see him go and get this recognition that he finally deserves, because I kind of feel like he was undershadowed a lot for Irish MMA. He wasn't given the recognition that he always deserved as him being one of the pioneers of our sport over there. And, you know, a guy who, I think, Peter, I'll tell you this, broke his leg in one of his first pro fights and continued to win a unanimous decision. So, you know, he's a different breed. We don't call him the South or nothing. So, he's very much one of a kind. I don't know too many people tougher than myself, but I would definitely put Peter up there.
That's a good compliment. Thank you, brother.
That's fun.
While we're still talking to you in a minute, Dylan, I just want to, obviously you're now out in Scotland. You've made the trip over here. You've now had a bit of time. You've been out at higher level. So just quickly, how's it been out in Scotland? Obviously, unfortunately, not much difference in the weather, mate. Still miserable as fuck here as well.
I won't really go on too much about myself, because I'm sure I'll have more opportunities about myself at higher level, and it is the show for the Showstopper. But I am loving it over here in higher level. I am as at home as anything. I was home for a couple of days in Ireland, and it just didn't feel like home anymore. I was looking forward to come back to Jimmy, my coach, and I even said to him, I was like, "Did you miss me?" And I even got I did a little bit, and that's a big thing for me. I was like, "Ooh." So that's me. I'm happy here. I'm loving life. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Peter taking out another Pitbull brother, because they're not really Pitbulls. They're only little Chihuahuas compared to him. So it's going to be nice.
I tell you what as well, Ireland's loss was Scotland's gain when you fucking stole him on us. He's one of the brightest talents I've ever seen in all my years in the gym. So there was I remember Dylan he's a bit of a troublemaker, as you probably know already, and he gets himself in bother. But I remember one time he was like, you remember this? Remember I asked you, I said, "Do you want to spar 5x5 one day?" Whatever. It was the first time I ever asked you to spar.
Aye.
And it was the kind of, put manners on you a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Just in a nice way. And you even said it. You were like, "This is a hit." You said it's a hit. And it fucking was a hit. And I did put manners on him. But then it became increasingly more difficult to put manners on this cunt as the years went on. And sometimes he was putting manners on me in some of the rounds. So he was a great training partner, and I'm sad he's gone. But, you know, you've gained a good one there. So you're going to see that in a few years once you get him tearing through the ranks over there.
He's given me a lot more credit than I probably deserve. But I seem to remember just being the little brother in most of the rounds. But I owe an awful lot of my growth to them hiding, so I'm completely grateful. I was in a catch-22 most of the time. I was stuck between Peter and Luka Jelcic. Yeah. So I was fucked either way I looked. But
not a good place.
I didn't get this good for no reason.
I guess the hard rounds is what makes the fights easy.
Easy. When I had them two big, massive lightweights kicking me ass all week, going in against the likes of a little featherweight was easy. That's why I always say the featherweights that they're fucked, because my training partners for years were Peter and Lucas, so they don't come bigger and better than that. Like, so I always hold that in my head that no featherweight will be ever stronger than them two. So I keep that, and it kind of, they still scare me away from lightweight. I'm like, no, I'll stay down here. No.
And let's just talk about obviously the fight itself. So this is a rematch, Peter. Obviously, previous fight, the doctor stopped it, but realistically, the damage was done by yourself. Some brutal elbows, really, really opened Patricio up. I think you had said as well, you spat out a mouthful of his blood at the end of the round.
Yeah,
I mean, that so you want to be a fighter there?
Fucking hell. It tasted like a mouthful of coppers.
Jesus. That's well.
I think I swallowed a bit of it and everything. It was, Jesus.
I feel like that was one of the big things in that fight, was that you showed no fear of Patrice, whereas in a lot of other fights he's the big bully boy, whereas when he's seeing Peter it was like, oh shit.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was it. That was my plan, is just because he's got so much fucking power that people are afraid of him. Kind of rightly so. But I was like, whatever, I'm not afraid of you, and I just fought him. And then you see him, and it was tough for 5 minutes, but then as the fight goes on, he was the one backing up now, and when we exchange shots, he'd be the one who'd back up, and he was getting tired in that second round. It was starting to turn big time. Like, even if I wanted it to go to the third round, because I was 2 rounds up anyway on the judge's scorecard, and I either would have stopped him in the third round, or it would have been an absolute bloodbath and a unanimous decision for me. So it didn't bother me if I went to the third round, and I was kind of disappointed in a way it didn't go. And I could just really finalise it, and
he has
but it's worked out, because maybe I wouldn't be fighting for the belt now, and if I wasn't rematching him. So who knows?
And there was something else in I think it was at the end of the first round. I know you exchanged a bit of words, but was there a little mental battle one in your head when he shot on you? No, 2 seconds. We might have lost Peter from
Hello.
Right, Peter. We've just lost your picture.
Back again.
Right, brilliant. So what I was saying there, did you feel that you won a wee mental battle? I think it was the end of the first round when he shot in on you. It was a wee bit of a lazy shot, and I know you had some words exchanged with him after that. I think you commented on the fact that he'd shot in on you.
I did, Jay. He took me down, and he calls himself the King of KOs. This is what he calls himself. It's a cool nickname, actually, because he's got a lot of KOs. But and he was talking all this bollocks before the fight that he was going to KO me, and he's the King of KOs and all this kind of stuff. And then when he took me down, he kind of had me against the fence. And I said to him, what's going on? I said, I thought you were the King of KOs. And now he's shooting all of a sudden. And I was slapping him in the face then, and I was looking at Patricio, his brother, in the corner as I was doing it. So this couldn't have felt good. So there was a bit of fun, bit of talking between us during the rounds. But then he was... his coach actually was calling for a takedown in the second round again. He was like, takedown, double leg, whatever. And I said to him, no, I said, let's fight. No takedown, let's fight now, because he was talking all this gas about knocking me out and all this kind of stuff. And now he's calf kicking me and trying to take me down all of a sudden. So it's a different...
Yeah, and the fact is you have been in there with him now. You've been in there, you've fought, you come out victorious. Does that change things leading into this fight then, and that you have spent some time in the cage together? And do you feel that you know how he's going to come into the next fight and how he'll approach it?
Yeah, it does. It changes things, but it'll change things for him as well. It's an advantage for him too. He's felt now that he's not taking me down now. This is kind of often it's too late. By the time you start trying to take me down, it's too late now. You're tired and stuff, and you realise you can't take me down. But maybe he knows now this is probably hard to do, and he mightn't do this now. But that'll work in my favour as well, because I want a stand-up fight off him. I don't really want a wrestling match. So he'll approach differently too. But for sure, one kind of wild card I had going into that fight was, does he have this, oh my God, power where you can't take his shots even on the gloves? And I was thinking about this. I was like, is this going to be whatever? It's going to be something I've never felt before. But now I felt it, and it's he has a lot of power, but it's nothing that's going to knock me out. So I felt this now. So that's my confidence is even higher now going into this. I know I can take his shots, that I can keep coming forward, put the pressure on him, and then drown him in the later rounds. That's my plan for this one.
So for you, is it just a case then? You obviously know he's got that power there, but it's just keeping your wits about you, sticking to your game plan and fighting your fight.
Yeah, it's just I need to not make any mistakes early in the fight. That's when he has the power. His power was not the same later in the second round. As with every fighter, is like, this is not a mock on him. It's every fighter is the same way. So I just need to be very sharp, approach the fight the same way I did the first one, and play it safe a bit in the first round, keep the pressure on him, play it safe, but just don't give him any opportunity to land that big shot. And the advantage I have in this fight is that it's 5 rounds now. So I've even more time to figure him out and break him down. Whereas the last time I was kind of against the clock. It was only 3 rounds, which is kind of a short fight. So, all these things, I've beaten him already. And then the fact that it's in Dublin in front of a crowd and the fact that it's 5 rounds, these are all in my favour. So, it's only shifting more in my favour, I feel.
Am I correct in saying, Peter, you've never been dropped before?
Never. Ryan Scope dropped me. He did. But we saw that in the
one drop in I don't know how many pro fights is a big deal.
20 fights. Yeah, and it was just for a second. I was with wits about me straight away again. So I've never been stopped, never been knocked out, and even sparring, nothing.
That goes for the gym as well. I haven't seen it ever. And with rounds with Conor, that usually
exactly. I've probably done it. Exactly. I've probably done 1,000 rounds with Conor McGregor, and I've never been knocked out. So, we'll see. Yeah. But I don't think Patricky is the man to do it either. So we'll see now how it goes. And that's all he has. You know what I mean? He's not stupid. He knows as this fight goes on, the more likely I am that I'm going to win it. If he's going to win this, it's probably in the first 5 minutes. And if he hasn't got it done by then, he's probably not going to get it done.
Because that was a massive factor for me, because obviously they 5 rounds it's such a game changer in the way the fight plays out, because when you look at the Pitbull brothers, they have that physique where they do have that explosive power, but usually with fighters with that physique, it doesn't do well over long fights. And that has got to be playing a massive part into how you approach the fight, because those 5 rounds with the condition and the way you fight, it seems like you suit those longer fights and you grow into fights more. Yeah,
definitely. Like he even in any of the fights I've seen of him, he's never really looked good in a third round. To be honest, he kind of slows down. This is just a byproduct of how he fights, because he fights to take you out, which I like, which is an impressive thing and it's a good thing. But it's hard to maintain that, so it's only going to get worse over 5 rounds. And also, the one big strength he has is how dangerous he is in the first round. But maybe he won't even have that now, because he'll be afraid to do that and get tired. Do you know what I mean? So, there's a lot of... We'll figure it out when I'm in there, but I'm not sure what's going to happen, to be honest. What I'm going to be facing. What way he's going to approach it.
It's why we love the sport. You just... You think you figured it out, and you just never know. But...
No, if I'm being honest, I think it's... Like, if I'm being really honest about the whole thing, I'd love to say, I'm going to knock him out and all this, but if I'm being really honest, I think it's going to be a horrific 25 minutes for both of us. But I'm hoping I know I'll be on top of that at the end of it. The
Dublin fans will get that money's worth.
Yeah, they will, I think. And that's fine by me. I'm all okay for that if it's that kind of a fight. That suits me as well.
Let's talk a wee bit about the card, and then obviously it's in Dublin. SPG are dominating the main card, so you've got a lot of your teammates. Obviously, James Gallagher's fighting Patricky Pitbull. Charlie Ward is fighting Novini Jr. and
that's off. That's Norbert tore his cruciate, I believe.
Oh, is that one pulled?
So Charlie is fighting someone else now. I'm not sure who he's actually fighting. I don't think it's been announced yet.
So are they keeping Charlie's place on the card, though? Is that just staying? Right?
He's staying on the card, but he'll be fighting someone else.
Poor fella.
I know. God, and that was actually a very good fight. That was a hard fight for both of them. You met Norbert's very good. He's a really good fighter. That guy from London Shoot. So I think it'll be an easier matchup, whoever he gets, for Charlie, because that guy's very good. So
nice.
Yeah, Charlie Ward, not a scary looking fighter at all. Jesus, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Dylan will tell you, I've had a few Barneys with him in the gym as well. Jesus Christ, it's like...
Well, I would imagine, Peter, that Charlie Ward doesn't have pillows for hands. I would imagine you feel those punches.
Cunt spies how he fights. Cunt spies how he fights.
Yeah. Just imagine. You've seen him fight. Now just imagine him in a gym with a t-shirt on and in a warehouse, and that's the same thing. He's just doing the same thing, but in a warehouse. That's basically it.
I'm assuming the head movement's on point in those rounds.
Yeah, you just fucking keep on your bike and stay away from the cunt. Now I don't spar him anymore, to be honest. I've kind of gone past those days where I'm just
smarter than that.
I'm smarter than that now. It was back in the day I would just spar anyone. Dylan will tell you.
Yeah.
Joe, but now I'm just like, I say no to people now. I'm like, no. I'm just like, why? There's no point.
Yeah. Is that one thing that happens as you grow into your career? You don't have that point to prove, so you're a bit smarter with the training.
Yeah, like right now.
Sorry, guys.
Like back then, you don't want to say no to anyone because you want to show them you're tough and everything. But now I'm Peter Queally and people know I'm tough. I've done enough to know I'm tough. I don't need to prove it anymore. So I'm very willing to just say no to people now. If I feel like it's something that's going to be a stupid thing, I'm not going to get much out of it, or maybe I'll get injured or something or whatever.
It took you 16 years.
I know. And I don't say no to everyone still. I'm still like,
just the ego going, I can't say no to this cunt, I can't say no to this cunt.
Oh, it's the worst. It's the fucking worst.
Oh, good times.
It's that ego. That ego can get you into a bit of bother.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, to be honest, that's what happens. Most of my injuries have happened with fucking idiots, just guys that are not on your level. They're a bit bigger than you, or maybe this spar or this roll is their world title fight. They're rolling with Dylan Tuke, or they're rolling with Peter Queally, or they're rolling with whoever, and they're trying to impress John or whoever's there. And they'll fucking do anything to win that round.
Not even looking.
And that's what happens. You know what I mean? Yeah, and oftentimes no one's even watching this fucking thing. So it's like but they'll do at any cost to your body or theirs. They want to win this round, and that's when the injuries happen. So
it is something you see with big gyms, obviously like SPG and pointing gyms in America. It's just that's always going to happen, isn't it? When fighters are coming in to train, they're coming in with a point to prove, to show who they are. It's almost unavoidable, I feel, unless you just don't spar with guys that you don't know.
Yeah. Or sometimes you can spar with a guy you don't know who's very experienced, and you just know he's on the same mindset as you, and you can have a great spar then. And that's good as well. And they're the best sparers because it's a bit unknown. You get very used to each other as well, and you're not really sparring anymore. I'm not sparring. I'm sparring Dylan Tuke's skill set. I'm not really preparing for anything except him when I spar him. Do you know what I mean? And you get to know his tendencies, and you're and he's doing the same to me, and you don't want to do that either, where you're sparring the same bodies all the time as well, because that's not good.
And then you get a guy that comes in, like a fighter that comes in, and he's a dick and goes hard, you know what I mean? And then he has to get a doing, like, you know.
Yes, this happens too.
You know what I mean? They get
a few hidings given out in the gym as well.
And Dylan, you must be going through that, and now obviously going over to Scotland, all new bodies sparring, so you've got to get through that again over here.
I always found that I could never really read the guys. Like with Peter, like sometimes I go in like spar Peter, and the next week he'd be coming out in a taekwondo stance, like, you know what I mean? And he'd be just throwing side kicks and hook kicks, like, and it just Peter. I think one of the things I caught in the first match I would have caught Patrick, is it, off guard, is Peter is a motherfucker to take down, like a motherfucker, like he's like a cat. But like the motherfucker uses defense as a rest time in the gym, like, because he knows he can't take him down, like. So I think that might have caught him off guard, and it's one of those things that I would have remembered. But you will get tendencies with guys, but if you're a good training partner, you'll usually, if you're sparring with a guy, you'll usually be like, oh, you're doing this all the time, so they're not doing the same shit each week. Whereas if you're a bad training partner, you're just crippling a guy with the same thing every week. They're kind of, you should have a look in the mirror because you're probably a dickhead.
Yeah.
It'd be like me going around crippling people with knees all the time. It's not really going to be beneficial to anyone, like, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely not. And also preparing for this one, Peter, obviously, like we say, a lot of guys on for the gym. Is that always a good experience? There's quite a few of you all preparing for the same date and getting ready for the same card. So you're all in that sort of same position leading up.
Yeah, no, I don't care, to be honest. Yeah, I just do my own thing. Honestly, I've got some close friends in the gym. I'm not close with everyone. So it's not that I don't dislike anyone, but you have your little crew and whatever, you hang around with certain people. And to be honest, anyway, as the more time has gone on and as I get longer into my career, I do more and more training on my own now and stuff, and behind closed doors, and I don't really get involved in the team sessions as much anymore, just for different reasons or whatever. You don't want to get injured and things, and just I know what I need to do. I know I'm long enough in the tooth now to know how to prepare for a fight. I do specific things now, so it doesn't make any difference. It's not good or bad for me. It's whatever, just another fight for me.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing as well, effectively being a fighter, although you train at a gym and it's a team environment, but you're the CEO of your own company, Peter Queally being that company, and I guess every fighter's got to approach that, because it is an individual sport at the end of the day.
Yes, you need to. No one's going to fucking hold your hand when you're in there. So if you're getting into this thing where I need my team and the team and all this, there's no team when you're in there. Dylan will tell you, the door closes and there's a guy in front of you trying to kill you, and the only one that can help you is you. So you need to get into this mode in training camp as well, where and that can stifle you, and it's too much of a team environment, and you're all whatever. This is not how it is. This is very different to what you're facing when you're in the actual fight. So you need to condition yourself to that as well.
If I could just say, I'm going to jump off topic now, Peter, because you're a full-time coach now with your own gym, if I'm correct. SBG Nace is one of your little baby projects at the moment, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I am, but I'm lucky. I'm really lucky in the sense that I can step away from it when I've got fights, that I can, really concentrate on myself, because we've got a coaching staff and stuff there, and I can kind of step away from that, which I have done to really prepare for this. But that's going very well, yeah.
How do you find that? How do you find that part of the journey? Because to be honest, I would have never imagined you in the shoes that you're in now of an MMA coach and stuff. So it's very interesting to see.
Yeah, I like it. It's it's interesting. It's just, to be honest, like some of the coaching, it's no different to training. I'm just in there almost like a training partner with the boys. I'm just showing them stuff and I'm training with them, and I'm just, yourself. It's fun. Having some fun, and this is the best way to learn, by sparring and training. You can get some coaches that are too, in my opinion, not everyone will agree with me on this, but they're too much on drilling and fucking techniques. And this, really how you get good is you get in, you spar with good people, and you train with good people, and you need a coach as well to steer the ship. But the best way to get better is by sparring. This is why everyone gets good at jiu-jitsu, because you can spar every single night. Whereas not many guys get top level at striking, because it's very hard to spar. So this is the difference. It's the more you can spar and the more you can train with people that are better than you, you'll get good very quickly. This was my recipe when I started. I just jumped straight into the deep end. I was just sparring Connor and stuff constantly and getting the fucking shit knocked out of me. I'll never forget it in the early days. He doesn't go like that. No, getting killed. But you learn very quickly. Failure is a great teacher. It's like you learn very, very fast when this is happening to you. So that's a thing you need to remember when you're training and you're aspiring and you're trying to be a fighter. You need to do this.
You've got to think as well, the sparring's going to weed out the guys who've got that bit in them to be a fighter. Because it's not there for everybody, and sometimes sparring's what will let you know.
That's you see nowadays. Sorry, nowadays, there's so many pussies that don't want to spar. They want to go in and they want to be pat on the back and told that they're great, but in reality they're shit, and they shouldn't be in a gym fighting people and sparring people. That's the reality of it. That is the reality of it. People want to come in and get a tip for coming into a class, when the reality is fuck off. You know what I mean? Come to 2-3 years of classes and I'll look after you then. A lot of people want the easy road, and not people want to take that road that Peter and myself, or even me and Peter are pussies compared to James Doolan and Paul McFay and Owen Roddy and stuff. Them kind of guys who came up even rougher. It's like
for sure. And with the one of the worst things that happened in recent times was when Max Holloway came out and said, I don't spar.
You're a lying bastard.
You're doing your bollocks. You're a lying bastard. You don't spar. You've been sparring your whole fucking life, and then you probably took 6 weeks off before this fight for whatever reason. But yes, the sparring's done. Do you know what I mean? But this is a terrible message to send young fighters that I don't spar, because that's not true. That's not true at all.
It's essential.
Yes, it's the most important thing. Yeah. And I spar much less now, much less. I barely sparred at all for the first Patricky fight, because I wanted my head to just be like a concrete block in there. I didn't want to take any damage in the lead up to the fight. I wanted just to save every punch that he was going to throw, that I'd be able to take them on the night. And I didn't spar much at all then because of that reason. But that was fine for me, because I've done 1,000 rounds of sparring. So it's all good. But when you've got some novice pro, I'm not going to spar. I'm going to be like Max Holloway. Okay, good luck. You'll get butt fucked when you go in there. And that's it.
So I can safely say you don't believe in flowy rounds.
No.
It just doesn't sound as good either, flowy round. How do you ask somebody, do you want to go for a flowy round? It sounds...
No, there's no flowy round. There's fucking 100%. Or fuck off, or go home and play PlayStation. That's my motto.
I'm pretty sure after the first punch lands, that flowy round goes right out the fucking window.
Exactly. There's no, it's very hard to do this as well. And you don't get that much out of this either, in my opinion, to be honest. Like, what are you learning there? The speed is different. The intensity is different. Again, this is not what you're facing on the night. Yeah. Only a person who's done a high level pro fight will tell you how odd it is when you get in there. And how it feels nothing like sparring. Sure doesn't, Dylan?
It's fucked up. It's the scariest thing in the world.
It's like, even when even the lack of shin pads, everything is just so weird. The speed is so much different. Everything is just different. So even sparring can't really prepare you, but at least it's something, you know?
Yeah, it's as close as you can get. Just last one, Peter, I wanted to ask you. So obviously it's at 3 Arena. I want to know, what's that feeling like when you're walking out? Obviously I watched the last walkout for the last fight. It looked insane. The hairs must be up in the back of your neck. What's that feeling like walking out to that packed arena?
Yeah, it's just a bit better.
it's a very unique feeling. I can't even describe it, obviously, really, but it's just like, if you've never been in the 3 Arena, Dylan will tell you, it's built like a hand fan. Mm-hmm. All the seating is on one side. It's like a theatre. So when you walk out, it's all coming from one side. It's almost like a fucking hairdryer hitting you, all the noise and the, you know what I mean? It's different. I've fought in some kind of big arenas in Russia and stuff, but they're oval, you know what I mean? All the crowd is around you. Whereas this is really weird. It's all on one side, and you can really feel the pressure coming down on you in the ring, even during the fight. But it's a nice feeling. It's good, you know what I mean? And like, to answer your question, you just overcome with pride when you walk out. When I walk out and I just hear all the noise and you know, the singing and the respect people have for me. And
do you allow yourself a moment, because there's not many fighters get to experience that, walking out to a crowd like that. It's very difficult to get to that level. When you're coming out, do you allow yourself just a moment to take it in before you switch back into fight mode?
No, I don't. I don't really enjoy it at all, to be honest, because you can't. Yeah. I'm there to do a job, and I need to just stay focused. And I tried to enjoy it after the last one. John, actually, in fairness to me, he stopped me after the last fight, the time I fought in Dublin. He stopped me. And he was like, Peter, just take this in now. You've lifted a whole city. Do you know what I mean? Because and I did. I kind of stopped and I looked up into the crowd and I tried to enjoy it then, but you can't really enjoy it before the fight, to be honest. It's just, you've too much on your plate. You're just going to war, and that's it. It's hard to enjoy, but I look back in the videos and I certainly enjoy them, and it makes me very proud.
Just a kid from Waterford. Out in a big arena.
Yeah.
Well, so 5th of November, you go back to war again. But this time, there is a nice, shiny gold world belt on the line. Peter, thank you very much for coming on the show.
I have one more question.
Go.
So, seeing as you spent most of your career at welterweight, picking up this lightweight belt now, and a double champ at welterweight seems like a good idea. You don't think a little lightweight up to welterweight, 2 belts?
Yeah, I don't know. Have you seen fucking MVP and Amasov, the size of them?
You wrestle fucking, he has no double leg defense, he's shy.
I tell you what, yeah, you know me, Dylan, I'd do it.
I know you would. And imagine the crash. Right?
Hey, that's what it'll come down to. Yeah.
$50,000.
It looks like Dylan's got the rest of your career marked out, Peter. Are you moving into management, Dylan?
What?
Are you moving into management, Dylan? It sounds like you're angling to be a manager as well.
45%. I know how he's a big superstar now, so I can't be just taking 10%. Internationally known now, Mr. Queally.
Oh, stuff, gas.
Well, as I said, Peter, thank you very much for coming on the show. Dylan, it was a pleasure for you to jump on. Cheers, we appreciate it, mate. So, thank you very much for that, guys.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Brilliant.
Cheers. Thanks, Jenny. Good man, well done.